listening to the Vitalmoments podcast. My name is David. I'm joined by my dad, Ron, who's the pastor of Vitalpoint Church. It's Monday morning. There's snow on the ground.
Man,
I'm not stoked about it.
so
My
friend in Newfoundland, Paradise, Newfoundland, Isaiah, he texted me on Friday. I think they got 80 centimeters of snow, and he sent me pictures. Yeah, so I texted him a picture Sunday afternoon of the snow that we were getting, and he said, "I'd be golfing in that weather."
Oh, dude, 80 centimeters.
80 centimeters.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I would be so frustrated. But hey, I'm convinced it's because I muttered the words this week, like last week, end of last week. I went golfing Friday. I was like, man, I can get my snow tires off.
Well, yeah. Anyone who took their snow tires off, I'm blaming them. Or put their shovels away.
Didn't do it. Or put the shovels away. Oh man, it is a battle.
Have we not learned?
Have we not learned? Just wait for it to all happen naturally.
Yeah.
It's a battle out there. And speaking of a battle,
what
a transition! Because I'm a host, I've got to figure out how to make the transitions.
I'm smiling and laughing this morning, although today is the day after we had a Battle Strong conversation.
Week 2.
Once we're done today, I've got a full day today, but once today's done, I'm taking 3 days vacation, Dave. I'm taking some time off.
Get some rest.
I'll be around Sunday, but I'm taking some time off.
But yeah, we're second week of our Battle Strong series.
Yeah, man.
Having a real reality check that there is a battle in life between two kingdoms. And this week we talked a lot about how to be equipped for the battle and how Paul in the book of Ephesians chapter 6 talks about the armor of God. Right? And I think this was an encouraging conversation for people to realize that God has actually equipped us as followers of Jesus to be suited up for the battle, but we can't allow, just because we've got this armor from him, to be lazy or complacent and just sit around. It is to be used appropriately. And how did you sense it went for you in the video, but also in the live site? And what was the big takeaway for you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. What is the big takeaway? For me, the importance of understanding that, and I joked about this in the live experience in Poplar Hill, was that the first 4 come as a package deal in relationship to Jesus. I think I may have said it in the video too. But what I joked about in Poplar Hill was, you are already Iron Man, because of and so what happened was someone in the congregation yelled out, "And Wonder Woman," and I was like, right. That was Grace, as you can imagine. Grace. Yeah, Dave, I was really excited about, and I talked about geeking out on this particular section because what Paul is referring to in the context is he's looking at the armor the soldiers would have worn, and it would have been their identity. It would have spoke about their loyalty, but there is characteristics of the particular armor that the soldiers would have worn in his day that spoke to the identity and the loyalty. So for me, it was that excitement. Honestly, it was that excitement around, I can see how Paul, obviously directed by the Spirit, was drawing out the application that what he saw, and likely saw because of being in prison, is the characteristics and the qualities, like the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the gospel of peace, which he referred to the shoes, and then the shield of faith. But what I really loved about it, and I didn't really understand this in the context of studying until I studied it this week again, or last week, was that, the grammatical, in the original, the grammatical is very purposeful in that it is something that we already have. Having is referring to the dependent participles in the aorist tense. I had to look at it. It's got my screen up here.
I would not even be able to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, I had when I said it in Poplar Hill,
Probably got a standing ovation.
people clapped. Yeah, a professor from Fanshawe was she
Yeah.
clapped, and then behind her was a professor from Western. She was
Yeah, I
just
love it.
no, she was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, David, I think that faith is active and formed trust in the person of Jesus Christ, and when we
Mhm.
are transferred from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of heaven in relationship to Jesus Christ, like we've had someone recently in Exeter
Yeah.
experience that by faith, entering into relationship with Christ and being transferred
Mhm.
from one to the other, is you're equipped with these things, but then it's the development and the
Mhm.
growing in
Mhm.
these things that with truth and
Mhm.
righteousness and peace and
Mhm.
faith. And so for me, it was an exciting conversation. Now, I will say, like, I've got some friends that haven't been in church in a long time that have been coming to church again,
Yeah.
and we're talking years not being in church. And she came bouncing up to me afterwards and said that felt like a bit of a master class in
Mhm.
understanding these things. And I like that. I like that a lot, Dave, because
Yeah.
we're digging into these things and sometimes, I mean, I think as Louis Giglio talks about, sometimes you need truth just out of reach so that you can have to
Yeah.
reach for it. So,
And you said that in the message within the video sites, at least, that sometimes the truth, you have to reach for it a little bit more,
yeah,
right? It has to come in and be in that space where you have to, okay, I got to do some work. I've got to
yeah,
move forward. I've got to reach. I've got to grab for it. But there is that really beautiful and powerful realization of the having, like a person that places their faith in
yeah,
Jesus. You are transferred from the dominion of darkness to the kingdom of light, and you have that. It's like
yeah,
already in your stall.
yeah,
Like it's there for you to have. But
yeah.
I want to go into the posture that you talked about of raising your hands.
Oh, okay.
Um, you I
Yeah,
found this really beautiful because as a pastor sitting down with people, I feel like a lot of people have tired arms, tired hands. They
yeah,
once had victory, and they still have victory if they've placed their faith in Jesus, but sometimes the battle of life is just so tough that it's tiring, right?
yeah,
And you talked about this posture of having your hands lifted high is the realization that you walk around, you live from victory. You're not fighting for that victory, right?
yeah,
And we need to actually stand firm, as Paul says, and raise those hands as an example, but also as a proclamation of the victory that we have in Jesus, not through our own doings. And it's this beautiful outward example of, look what Christ has done for me and how I can walk through this battle and stand strong and firm in it, is that he is the one that has given me the strength to lift my arms out.
yeah. The journey of faith in the battle strong doesn't come without wounds, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't come without um weariness. There's sometimes
Yeah.
we're weary, right?
Yeah.
Like I shared with you and a couple other people, like going into yesterday's message, Sunday's talk was I was weary. Like
Mm-hmm.
this has been I've found myself to be very weary in this journey right now. Um, not physically, but just emotionally and spiritually weary, mentally, and I believe that we need to be okay with those seasons, David,
Yep.
but we can't
Mm-hmm.
continue to live from a place of defeat. So think about the wrestling that we talked about in the message, where the wrestling match between two high school students, one is defeat, he's the loser, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
I know we probably can't say the word loser these days.
You just did twice, so
I just did twice. The one who is defeated, who did not win,
yeah.
their hands are down, and the other has
Mm-hmm.
their hands in the air in victory. And I believe that the armor, because of relationship to Jesus Christ and because of the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, is that we live from that place of victory, and that hands posture in the air is the expression of. Think about when Moses tells Joshua. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
when Moses tells Joshua to go to battle to defeat. Oh shoot, can't remember who it is, but it doesn't matter. He when he had his hands in the air, there was victory.
Yeah.
When
Exodus
his hand,
17.
when his hands were, yeah, that's right. When his hands were down, they were losing. But then he's get
Mhm.
people around him, Aaron and Hur, to lift up his hands. They actually got him to sit on a
Yeah.
stone first and lift his hands.
Yeah.
So the lifting up of the hands at the end of that chapter talks about his hand on the throne of heaven.
Mm.
And so victory is ours, and in our positional right within the kingdom of heaven through Christ. And we can live with victory with our hands in the air. I mean, I'm not saying, that's figuratively speaking. I'm not talking about going to work every Monday morning with your hands in the air,
You just got your hands just lifted
walking around
high.
cubicle worlds with your hands up in the air, and everyone's like, "What is your issue?" I'm just living from victory.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there is that reality, and
Mhm.
I heard
But you
one.
think of that person in
Yeah.
that wrestling match, right? Like when the referee lifts their hand and say, "You have won." Like I watched a
Mhm.
guy from UFC the other night. I watched the
Okay.
highlights
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
fight, and his posture changed. He literally was
Yeah.
standing firm. Like it was like,
Yeah.
look at this
Yeah.
victory.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about the
Even though his
Christian
face
faith,
was
and
all bloodied and beaten up.
yeah, even though he was, yeah, he was wounded, he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, looked like
Yeah.
a gladiator.
Oh man, I saw those. So
There was just so much triumph
yeah.
over the battle, right?
Hmm.
And it really just reminded me of that is Jesus. He goes, yeah, I have won the battle.
Yeah.
We can stand
Yeah.
together and stand
Yeah.
firm in victory.
Yeah.
So,
The writer of Hebrews says, "Therefore, lift your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and
yeah.
make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint,
Mhm.
but rather be healed." And there's a determination, right? There's a,
Mhm.
but it's not within ourselves. It's
Mhm.
within relationship to Christ. And what we've been talking about, Battle Strong, is the reality of the kingdom of darkness
Mhm. Yeah.
that was expelled from God's presence because of a rebellion. And therefore, we now have
Mhm.
destructive forces working against us
Mhm.
that want to use worldly systems, that want to use our own, at times, fleshly temptations, to use
Mhm.
even the reality of the evil one in his dominion.
Mhm.
They did you see the reel I sent you that Phil Hawley sent me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, talking about with children, I don't even know
Mhm.
if this would come up in our series, but talking with children that say there's a monster under my bed. I was thinking about Calvin and Hobbes. There's always a monster
Yeah.
under his bed.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, right. And not dismissing it right away because of the
Mhm.
reality of maybe of the unseen forces. So you enter into
Yeah.
that moment in prayer. Imagine one of your kids, you don't dismiss it and say it's not true
Mhm.
necessarily. You just instead you enter into a time of prayer.
We had a time, Hannah and I were yeah, Tatum and Rue were both sharing the same room. They've shared a room since they've
Hmm.
both been born. And
Hmm.
there was one night that um Rue would not sleep. Would not sleep.
Yeah.
And Hannah, my wife, she started trying to discern, okay, what is, like, we've done everything that we humanly can do, like from our human side of parenting.
Yeah.
And because we pray over our girls, we pray over the room, we pray
Yeah.
for protection, all that kind of stuff. And she went into the room and she said, there's something eerie in this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went in there and I just prayed over the room, prayed in the
Hmm.
room for quite a while.
Hmm.
And what was interesting from what happened,
Yeah.
Ruth started sleeping after a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. And even I hesitate to even share this, Dave. Saturday night, should I share this or not? Saturday night was a very restless sleep for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had evil dreams. I woke up like yelling at something. And then partway through the night, I felt like something was on our bed and pinned my legs.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a dream. It wasn't, I was lying there going, what's happening? What is going on right now? Right. And once I got my bearings and started, entering into that moment of realizing that what was happening, it lifted. But I've had that even with important messages on Sunday mornings when I was specifically giving a gospel message in the sense of the reality of what it means to be in the kingdom of heaven. I've experienced in the night things in opposition to that. And we don't like talking about this stuff, David, in our Western church. Developing countries, this is normal. The reality of evil is
so
normal.
Mm-hmm.
The demonization, normal. I believe it's probably normal here. We just don't want to acknowledge the fact that it's possible that the things that we experience, forms of mental health, forms of depression, forms of discouragement, just different forms of some of the things that we face in our world. Even how the evil one can use comparison of social media to destroy the work of God doing. I was thinking about this last week, and it didn't make it into the talk, but I know that the evil one uses posts from other churches to destroy the work that God's trying to do here at Vitalpoint Church. Because I look at some of the things that other churches are doing, and I'm like, we're failing. We got to work harder. They seem to have a lot going on, and the comparison game starts, David, and the evil one just, I think, uses my competitiveness against me in those moments, and the evil one uses that. I've contemplated, I don't know if I would do this, going for an extended period of time of getting completely off social media. Because of some of what the evil one uses in those, right?
Yeah.
So, think about a family. Think about someone's family, like your family, or someone else's family in the life of the church that's going through some struggles. But then there's other families around that are posting all these great pictures, all the fun they're doing. They're on cruises right now. They're down south right now, and we're stuck here in the snow. And I'm fighting with my kids every day. And the evil one's going like, "Look at their family. Like you should be like them." And then you get discouraged, and it just becomes this vicious, evil cycle. And the evil one loves this, and we chalk it up as whatever, it's just social media. But no, if we truly believe that the evil forces of darkness are fighting against all that is good that God is trying to do in your life, then he will use whatever tactics he can.
Whatever tactics, like that's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
whatever. And they're all schemes, right? They're all schemes. We talked about in week one.
Yeah.
And he will claw, scratch, and try to grab at anything. And because he wants to be on the throne of your heart, because he can't be in the throne room of God because he's been banished from that space, right?
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Right. So the only throne that he can try to be on is on the throne of your heart.
Yeah.
And we as followers of Jesus, or just human beings, need to realize that the evil forces of this world, they know the end of the story.
Yeah.
Right? That's the crazy thing is they are intelligent in the way of they know the end of the story does not end good for them. And so they don't want anyone to be in eternity with the Father.
Yeah, that's right.
The one that loves them so much, that pursues their heart in a peaceful and calm and loving way. And so he will try to create chaos and destruction, and he'll use own families because he can't be part of the one true family of God's church. Right. So I'm finding that this series is really, really shaking some people.
Yeah.
But not in a way of, hey, you should get this right. No,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
no.
let's look at life.
Yeah,
Let's look at what's going on in our world and around us and in us, and
yeah.
pay attention to these things.
Friend called me last night to pray over me. I'd shared with him what was going on, and he called me. Right, I already referenced him in this. Phil, he called me and he said, "There's a shaking happening right now."
Yeah,
And
there is.
yeah, so it's good.
There is.
Awesome.
Okay, this has been great. We've had some requests for longer episodes. That was about 20 minutes, so
Maybe,
hopefully that
yeah.
gives you. I think that's regular for us now is 20 minutes. So
Yeah, we originally said we'd do it in 10 minutes. Now it's 20 minutes. And
I know we
Yeah.
just get going, you know.
I get people sending me pictures of having this on YouTube on their
I
TVs
know.
in their spaces watching, and I'm like,
I love it.
oh, good. And they're not family members.
That's the best part.
Your wife and my wife, and well, Polly probably wouldn't watch it, but
Yeah. Okay.
your brother.
Everyone, thank you so much. This has been a good series.
Come back for week 3. This is going to be an interesting conversation. And you're doing the talk, and we're going back to prayer again, Dave.
Oh,
but
yeah.
prayer from a beautiful perspective that you're going to bring. And don't miss it, people. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
And then week 4, I'm going to wrap up this. Yeah.
We're all going to run through a wall. Didn't you say, though, in week 1, you actually don't take a step forward. You just stand firm.
Yeah. So you don't get knocked
actually
off
don't. So we're not going to run through a wall. We're all going to stand together. Yeah. Thanks so much for listening and watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, whenever it is. And hopefully you are around for week 3 of Battle Strong. See you later. Peace out.
Peace.